Hi everyone, welcome back to the Laurie Files. Today I'm going to do something crafty again. I'm on a roll. Did something yesterday, I'm going to do something today. Today, most people know that I make journals, and I thought today might be a really good way to make, to show you guys how I make one of the components that I make for the journals that I make. So this is like a little notebook, and I make these little sets and I put them in the journals so that they can be used for added space for writing on. And I'm going to show you how to do these, because you can make these and pop them in your handbag. You don't have to have them in a journal. You can have them wherever you want. Like, you can use them for whatever you want. So I thought today might be a good day, and it's so windy outside. I just went out there and just about got blown away. So I'll show you the steps how to make this, and the different, like, you can do different variations of this in regards to what you want to use to do them up, and like what kind of papers you put in. So we'll go through all that, and yeah, it's another really cheap crafty thing to show you. If you want to watch and you want to see how to do it, stick around. So what you need to start off is, I use old book pages. Yes, I rip up the books that I don't like. When you think about how much stuff is in our libraries and how much books sit in, and they're going mouldy, and eventually the pages will become so brittle and so delicate that you won't be able to read them, and you won't be able to do anything with them. I pulled out a couple of pages before, and I was going to use it, and I'm going to show you just how brittle they are. And this book isn't really that old. Is it this one? No, it was a different one. Where are you, book pages? I wanted to use you as a... See, they're that brittle now that I can't even find them. That's how brittle they are. Anyway, they were that brittle that I couldn't use them because they would have just fallen apart. As it is, I get 2 pages out of the book, and you can cut them straight if you want to. You don't have to. Whatever makes you happy, whatever floats your boat. And I glue them together. You might like the blank space, you might like the worded space, but glue them together however you want. It doesn't really, I'm not one of these people, I don't care if the writing's upside down. Some people may be a little bit like, oh, the writing's upside, no, I don't really care. So glue them together so that you end up with, probably really loud, sorry, so that you end up, so that is completely blank, because I thought that might be, something a little bit different. So what you're going to end up with is a blank one side, or you might end up with a picture, depending on what book you use. You want it relatively straight because you're going to need to match those up. So you want them cut relatively straight. You can do it with a pair of scissors, or you can do it with a cutter. It doesn't matter, okay? The idea is not to get your knickers in a bunch and get stressed. Craft is supposed to be fun. It's not supposed to be something that you're stressed about. So if it's stressing you out, you're doing it wrong. But that's about the only thing that you can do wrong in craft, okay? The next thing you're going to need is some good old glue. Now, you can use Mod Podge if you want. Personally, I can't afford Mod Podge. Mod Podge. Some people say Mod Podge, but it's actually Mod Podge. I can't afford that. So I go down to the good old... See, this is where cheap comes in. I'm a cheap ass when it... The only thing I'm not cheap with is paints, and I'll get to that another day. But with stuff like craft glues and just the stuff that you can get away with and buy cheap, the best thing to do is to try it out. If it's a couple of bucks and it doesn't work, you can usually find some purpose for it if it's not the application that you actually bought the product for. This stuff here, we bought this it's just Parfix PVA glue. I think a bottle of this is like $9 for a litre. It might even be less, I don't know. You right there, mate? My doggy's feeling the heat. It's one of his first days being hot, so he's sussing all that out. Anyway, so go to the Bunnings or whatever that, whatever You could go to Walmart if you're in America, but then you guys have so much cheap stuff. I'm jealous. I'm not gonna lie. I'm super jealous of how much cheap craft stuff America has. We have nowhere near that. So I just go down to the old local Bunnings and buy the litre. So what you're gonna do is pour probably about that much in. Now I don't make too much of a big deal about this because it's just how I do it is how I do it. And to be honest, before I did this video, I really had to think about how do I actually do this, because I don't really, it's something that I do and don't think about, which is how craft really should be. You know, you should be relaxed in doing it, not having to stress about. I'm just going to move those scissors so they don't get covered in glue. Alright, so the other thing you're going to need, we'll just set that aside for a second. The other thing you're going to need is some, now I've got all these, again, you can get them off, I've seen them on Etsy, I have seen them on at all different various prices on eBay, but where I go is I go into the dollar shops. Look, this is from a choice shop, $2.50 for 20, right? And that's where I go. I head over to the section where they have all these, and I have a look at what they've got, and I try and buy the specific ones. Like this is one of my favourite galahs, and that, you know, you can do so much. Oh, sorry, I put the camera in a different place today, and you'd think that I'd, you know, not bang it, but I do. This one is one of my favourites, and I haven't seen it since, so I've got like 10 left or something, so I've been hanging on to those. This one, what I do find, if you buy one that's got a lot of black, you don't necessarily get, because this is black, you want to probably put that on more of a blank page. The messier, not the better so much, you know. You sort of, and the ones that don't have a white background, again, you have to be a little bit careful because it darkens. Anyway, get yourself some napkins. Oh, there's another really pretty one. Get yourself some napkins. Which one am I going to do today? Let's have a look. Oh, this one's a fairly new one. So I'm going to use these today. So, if you want to make it matching, you can. You don't have to. One napkin goes a long way. This one, when you open it up, see now, this is where it gets a little bit, you know, a bit more in depth. This hasn't got a running pattern, and by running pattern I mean, let's see if I've got one here that I can use as an example. Right, this is, you know, pretty ordinary, but it would still work. This is what I class as a running pattern. A running pattern. Virtually, you can put it any which way, and you're going to get the same any which way. It's the same. It's a continuous pattern. Whereas this one has reversed in that. So you've really only got this square. That's your main pattern, and then they've just reciprocated that. That's a big word of the day. Reciprocated that throughout the thing, but it doesn't necessarily run in a neat, which be jiggy line. Okay, I think you get my drift. So then, what you're going to do? Okay, think about which way you're going to do this. I'm going to do this one first. Okay, so simply I folded that, and that's the other thing. When you get glue on them, they do tend to be a bit twisty bendy. You're going to get your little serviette. Now, I just wet my fingers. I licked them. Yeah, I know, gross, right? Sorry, not sorry. Okay, so like, take that. Now keep that, okay? Why? Because it's good for cleaning up. There's also other things you can do with it that I may do one day and show you, but for now, it's going over there. So, because we're folding this like that, you do have to kind of think about where on your little wallet thing. Hang on, where's the little wallet that I had that I was showing you guys? Where did I put that? Interesting. This is the thing when you've got a desk full of crap. Oh, here it is. I was about to start whinging. It's turned up. Okay, so it doesn't really matter what you put there and there. I'll show you. I'm going to do something a little bit different to this one, but you can you can see that you're going to open it, like if you're making the envelope part, it's going to be like that. Okay, so you know, this has got the picture on the back. So you want to sort of think about how that's going to look. To be honest, I don't think it really matters that much. But let's just say, for argument's sake, let's have a look here. These pages are incredibly crumbly, but that's okay. It doesn't matter. We're gonna back that up in a minute with some more glue. Actually, I've never had them really crumble quite that bad, but we'll just deal with it. Okay, so that's how it's going to look, all right? So you want to think about that. So I want my birdie on the front. So what I might do is just quickly cut out. You can tear it or you can cut it. I'm trying to figure out which way the best way would be to put this. Okay, I'm going to just try not to destroy it too much. And then get your water and glue, add a bit of water to the glue until you make this sloppy kind of mixture. You do want to go all the way to the ends because this is kind of like where the strength comes back into the whole thing. Whoops. Dingle dingle. My wind chime's going off. It's not. Okay, so that'll just pat it down. Don't worry if it gets a few bubbles. That's alright. Whack a bit more thicker glue on if you think it is a bit watery, because you do want it to stick. So just use some common sense, which isn't real common. Okay, so you can see there's a few creases. Don't try and lift it back up. Trust me, it doesn't work. You can try and lift it back up till the cows come home. It'll just rip. So just deal with it. Put it on there. And as you can see, it's hanging over the edge. That's fine too. Just don't let it blow back on itself. Can you see that? I hope so. I was getting carried away doing it and wasn't even thinking much about what I was doing. So this one here, I'm just going to rip down there. You see? I don't know if you can see that. I think you can see that. If you rip the edges, it seems to, the edges become pretty much invisible. If you cut them, it doesn't, I don't know, they don't seem to go as invisible as they do when you rip them. Now, I'll put this little butterfly back over here. So I'll put some glue, even though it's quite saturated. My doggy's quiet, I'm a little bit worried. Cookie, what you doing? I don't know where you are. I know he's not outside because he can't get out there, but he gets into the strangest things. He gets behind my lounge and then I can't find him, and he knows I can't find him, and it's not until I open the fridge he'll come running then, because he thinks he's going to get food, and usually he does, because he's, you know, he's special. Alright, now the bottom one, see, now if I was to put that on like that, it's not even going to fit properly. So let's see, I'm just cutting this off here, guys. I'm sorry that you can't see what I'm doing. You'll have to bear with me a second. Okay, so what do I do here? I'm going to just cut it. Whoa, the wind just about took that away. Oh no, don't blow away. No blowing away. I might just chop this off here to be used for something. And that just blew away. And I asked it not to, and I even said it in my nice voice, you know, you'd think it'd just listen, but nope, no can do. Okay, so this is gonna, I'm actually contemplating, if you can, sorry, you wasn't even on the camera then, get carried away. I'm just gonna stick this whole piece, oh, get off, get on there, right, go nuts. So we're just gonna, actually I'm gonna turn this around because I just realized that that's the good thing about folding it beforehand. Just realized that that's the top of it. Now this one's going on the other way. Stay, don't fall down. And the butterfly is not going to make it, so let's wrap him. He can wrap. You can wrap. I don't know if you can see me doing that. Sorry people, I'm not very good at this. I'm just learning. Be kind. Alright. That folded, but you know, doesn't matter. Okay, so get a bit of glue. Get a bit of glue. That rip, that's fine. Just see how that line just doesn't, I don't know. I always find that it doesn't quite blend if you cut it. I'm gonna have to find a little piece of something to go up there because it's not quite covered. There we go. Oh dear. Just be very careful because that could stick. I'm basically telling myself, not you, because you know you guys don't really need to know that. I do though, because if it sticks on there, I'm going to have to start all over again. No, just kidding. I'd figure out a way around it. Okay. So as you can, no, like that. Yes, like that. As you can see, it's going to dry really quick because this wind is just, and then see down here I've got a little bit left, so I'll just use that in this corner. Now I'm going to tear this because like I said, can you see where I'm putting that in the corner here? So like if you've got a corner that's destined not to stick there, hey. Alright. Okay, I really wanted it to cover the whole thing, so I'm just going to go on an angle. Don't be blowing my stuff around, Mr. Wind. You're not being very nice to me. Okay. Everything in my house is banging and crashing, and it's quite settling. Hold on. When the wind gets up here, it gets up. You know, they're worried about the cyclone or the hurricane, but we get this wind all the time. It's not friendly, and it's just was still as still this morning, and now it's just like a, I know it scared me too, doggy. It fell down on the floor. It did. All right, he's looking at me like, what is going on? Okay, see if I shut the window I'm too hot, if I have it open I get blown to kingdom come. So that's nice and wet. Now I'm going to do the other one too. Might do the other one off camera and come back once they're dry. So I'm going to just do the other one. I'll do the other one very similar because I want them to be a matching set, and then I'll come back and show you the next step. Okay, so I quickly dried them off a little. They're mostly dry, I would say. You could go over that with another lot of, oh look at that, it's got a little bit of orange paint on it. You could go over them with another coat of, of glue, like just of straight glue, just to give them a bit more protection. The other thing you could do, I'm developing an accent. The other thing that you could do is do the other side. Now, to be honest, well, look, and also just check to make sure that there's bits and pieces that aren't. I'm just going to get a bit of glue and stick that in there. That's not going to matter in a minute. Because I'm actually going to sew them, but you don't, and that was the other thing. I'm going to trim them down and show you what the end result is. So you just trim all this off. It's really interesting, I know, but you can gabble on. I can gabble on a bit longer. It's just an excuse for me to talk to you more. So I've been meaning to do a video with Cookie, because Cookie's 6 months old today. Now I wanted to do an update. If you just tuned in, Cookie's my toy poodle. But yeah, I meaning to do an update, so I might do that when I get around to it. I was going to do it outside, but as you can see, I nearly got murdered before with that was actually my backboard flying off my easel, and it missed me by not very much. I don't really know what I'm laughing at, but anyway, my death could have been caught on camera. Could have been a hit. Okay, so you know how I was saying don't let that piece roll over? It did. Not to worry. I'm going to cut this butterfly in half, but half of a butterfly is actually quite interesting. So, and as you can see, I'm just going along the edge, just getting that rough edge off, not the rough edge, but just where the serviette covers the paper. Jeez, can't word. And I'm not doing the back like I said, but you can do the back. Do whatever you want, really. That's just gone over and got a bit of glue, so just Alright, and as you can see, like how we were saying that the pages seemed a bit brittle when I folded this one. This gives it a little bit more strength. So when you fold, you've got that bit of bit more strength in the actual paper. I wouldn't be using really brittle paper. I like the yellowing paper that you can get when you see old books that are yellowing. You could use that. Just just give it a bit of a flex and a twist, because this is only thin. Even though this has got glue, this is only thin, and if you're bending it a lot, it will wear through. Obviously, it's not super strong. Strong enough, but it's not going to be strong if it's yellowed, or if it's really if your base is really poor. Okay, let's get out of the way. So the next thing I like to do is I like to just give the edges a bit of a distressed. Why is that doing that? Distress. I like to get the brown stamp and go around the edges, but you can use whatever colour. I tell you what else would have looked really nice if I had have used blue. In actual fact, I might do blue on the other one. And I know I was going to make them matching, but whatever. My art, my rules. Now, if you don't have this stuff, you can use, you could use pencil. You could use, like, you know how we in school used to do our shading? Show my age now. You'd sharpen your pencil and you'd get like the bits of sharpened pencil, and you'd rub your finger in it, and then you'd do your shading like this. Yeah, you could do that on the edge, with your finger. You could use a black, you could get a Nico pen or a permanent marker, And you could go like this, go along the edge. Can you see? See how it's going? See that? Look. And that gives a really nice effect along the edge. The idea is just to give it that finished look. You could get some paint as well. You could use paint and go around it with some paint. This is a makeup sponge. I don't have those fancy little handled, I don't know what they're even called. I don't have one of those. I thought about getting one and then I saw how much they were and went, yeah. The only worst thing is that they're a little bit smaller. You know, that's the worst thing that ever happens to you. Not doing too bad. And these all stamp things I got off the internet too. I got them off eBay for like $6. They're the mini distress things. You've probably seen people use the big ones. Yeah, I dream of the bigger ones. I don't use the same. Okay, so you can see, I just wanted you to see the difference and what difference it makes. It's taken too long. See the difference with the blue? The blue brings out the blue in the bird, yeah, and the brown brings out the brown in the bird. I don't know if you can see that. See, the brown brings out the brown in the bird, and if you use blue, it's generally bringing out that blue in the bird's tail. And I tell you, you use black, and it's going to bring out your black typing. So now I've got that done. So we've trimmed them. We've thought about putting something on the other side, but we decided not to. Now, okay, so you want to fold it like so. Which one was I going to use for the book? It doesn't really matter. It is what it is now. So you got that one like that. And this one. Now, some people might not like that writing on there. You know, it's fine. You can cover it. You can put, if you don't want to see that, you can also put like, I don't have anything here to show. Oh, here we go. You could line that with a coloured paper if you didn't want, I know it doesn't fit properly, but you could line that with a coloured paper. Or if you don't really care what that is, because you're going to cover that up anyway, you could just cut a strip to go on there, which, because it says Hannibal Rising in the page, and hang on, I'll fix that. Oh, now it's upside down. All right, I'm going with this, and I'll show you in a minute how to fix it. I'll be back in just a second. I'm going to go sew around the edges. Actually, before I go, you don't have to sew it. You can glue it. You can glue those together. Okay, you could staple up there with some coloured staples or something. You can get your hand sew with a big needle. You don't have to sew it with a machine. I'm going to, because I'm lazy and my hand sewing is absolutely atrocious. So I shall be back very shortly. Like I said, no sewing machine, no problems. You would just glue it where I've sewn it. It's not a big deal, okay? So this is a little envelope one. As you can see, it's got a little top on it. Now this one's almost finished. You can decorate it with whatever you want. Okay, you don't have to just leave it like that. For a closure, I thought today maybe we would. Actually, I'm going to use the blue if I can find it. Nope, that's green. Why not put the blue one? Blue one's here. Okay, so what I want to do is I'm just going to quickly do a closure for it. Yeah, I know. Very unorthodox way of distressing. Okay. We'll deal with that one in a minute. Put that over there. Get out there. Alright, so we're going to get our tacky glue. Tacky glue. Everywhere you can buy tacky glue. The reason why I buy tacky glue is because it dries quick. This glue is almost all gone, so I'm hoping that it might not come out the bottle. So what I might do is put a bit on my finger. So with this clasp, what we're going to do is I'm going to put it on half, like that, down half, so I can slide that in and out. Actually, I might move that down a bit. Slide that in and out like that. The other thing you could use, you could put a button. You can put a button there. Same principle. You could put an eyelet, and instead of doing it like this one, like where it loops around, like so, what you could do is make it so that you can tie it through it. Yeah. So instead of doing it like that, just have it tie through. Oh, threw it on the floor. So this little sucker is gonna I don't mind if it's bendy, that's fine. You know, it's a problem when you're trying to rush and you're not, you know, because my camera's probably going to go flat before I'm actually finished. So finished. So that goes there like that, like if, you know, like if I don't stop saying I'm gonna, you know. Right. Now that I've got those out the way. So there you go. That's done. You got the little closures, a little butterfly. You could. Let me see if I can. I don't want to stuff it up in front of you guys and be like, oh, that was really good, but now I've wrecked it. So I'm just gonna. Just give me a second. So you could decorate this with whatever you want. Little pictures, when you've got pictures on there, but may not be enough for you. You might want more. This really isn't working, is it? You know, this glue. Just bear with me. Wretched stuff. It wouldn't come out, and I'm not going to use it through the nozzle because you guys are going to be waiting forever. It's just a shocker. I can just get a bit of glue on there happening. Sorry people, I know this is really, I look like a real pro doing this. Where's my little sponger thing that I have? Oh, I'll just put a paper towel. That's the other thing that you want around the place is paper towel. I go through rolls of it. Bit of water over there. Get that rubbish off my hands. Okay. Get on straight. Okay, so that's on. Whoops. And you could use this for pictures, or you could put little notes to yourself in there, or put dockets in there. It's actually quite, there's quite a bit of room. And as it'll decide on what size pages you go for. If you get a bigger page, obviously you're going to end up with a bigger wallet. So that's the first one. Okay. Can you see that? Quite cool. It's not sticking out there. It's just quite cool. I think it's cute. Actually, what I might do. Oh, no. I'm going to do. Let's move on and finish the other one. Let's not get carried away. So, to put in the middle of these, I generally use bits of leftover paper. You can just put that off there. Bits of leftover paper from when I'm making the journal. So, you know, you might have used different bits of paper, bits of paper that you've had laying around, and they could be different sizes. It doesn't matter. Let me see. Those together. You can still write on it. There's nothing wrong with it. These are all just like leftover bits that were in the box that I've got. If I don't use them for something, they're just going to sit there, and you know, I've put them aside to use them. And I intend on using them and not throwing them out. So this is a perfect kind of thing to use all those little bits of paper that you've put aside because you might use it for something. Let's just put a little one in there. Okay, now to put this in your book, I'm going to sew it again. You don't have to. You don't have to sew it. It's a little bit big. Let's just cut that down. You don't have to sew it. You can use a hand sew and sew it in. Hand sew and sew it in. You can use a needle and thread. Just use some baker's twine or some jute or just some common garden variety string. You're going to need a bigger needle with a bigger eye though to do it. So an embroidery needle. Put your holes there and there. Maybe do them with a knitting needle or a sharp needle first. Don't try and go through everything all at once because you'll just make a mess. So line it up where you want it. Put your hole here and your hole here. Maybe measure it and then poke it through. I'm going to sew this in. So it's still too big. This is the most important part, is to make sure that your pages fit nicely before you... I'm just cutting that off. Bit savage, but anyway. You want those pages to fit. The other thing you need to decide is which way do you want it to open. Okay. And the other thing you could do is attach your paper to here so that it flips out, so that you've got all this to write on. I can show you another time. I can show you one when I do another one. I'll do it a bit differently next time. Obviously I'm not going to make one tomorrow. I don't know if I like how far that's sticking out, so I'm going to... Oops. It doesn't matter that it's not crazy even. It's just a little bit more note paper to put in your journal so that there's a little bit more to write on. Or you can keep it as you can make it into a mini journal. Alright, so I'm just going to go and sew that in, and then I'll come back. So I've run that through the machine, and I've done that. I just pop them in. As you can see, they're just in there. It doesn't have to be perfect. Just in there so that you can write on all that. And as I said, you could put stickers here if you wanted to. You could, you know, do anything you wanted to that. You don't have to do it like I've done it. This is just an idea, a version of it. Just cut that little daggy thing out. Again, I'm nearly out of battery, I think. Ooh, close. Again, you could make closure here with whatever you want. I think this one I'm going to... Bear with me. I am not turning the camera off. Wait there. Upshot string. Okay. So I think with this one, I'm going to put some bling. This is all my little blingy things in here. What have we got in here that I can use? So can you see what I'm doing there? I'm just sticking that one on there. Oh. Sticking it there. I probably should glue it on. I would usually glue it on, but time is a wasting. Okay, so that's on there like that. Now what I would do, sometimes I just get a bit of, and you can use ribbon, you could use some lace, you could use some old material, like a scrap piece of material. But for time's sake, there. So we have this one. Get out of the way. We have this one. It opens and our little bits go in. And it's, you know. And if you don't like that rough thing, you can sandpaper that off. You can give it a light sand. I wouldn't do it the same day. I'd let it dry overnight before I did that, and just get some really light sandpaper and give it a sand. You are going to lose some colour. I find that it's better just left alone, but you can sand it if you don't like that rough feeling. And then I would go over with another layer of glue. So we've got this one, and that's got our little whatever's in it, and then we've got this one, and that's got the paper and you can write in it. So there we go, people. I hope that you enjoyed our little tutorial today. Sorry that it's probably gone on a little bit longer than I would have liked, but I wanted just to see how it was done. And that concludes number 2. 2 in 2 days. So stick around for tomorrow's. I'm going to do something completely different, I think. I'm not sure. I might do some painting. I might show you the world of painting. And I might even do a journal at some stage from start to finish and make it a craft with me, so you can maybe prepare one week and then we can perhaps do it together in real time, which would be really cool. So thanks for sticking with me if you've got this far today. And again, if I'll leave my email in the description if you make something or you have a go or whatever, or if you've got any questions, you can please put them in the comment section below, and I'm more than happy to answer it if I can, and if I can't, well, I'll tell you that I can't. But other than that, I think that concludes it for today, and I hope that you have a very, very happy day with whatever else may be going on, and stay out of the wind. And if you're in the tornado area, I really hope that you guys are somewhere safe, and that let's just hope that that's over quickly and there's not loss of life. I believe that the damage is one thing, but loss of life, you can't replace people, you know. So anyway, that's it. I'm rambling again. Always at the end of the thing I ramble, so we know that's the end.